Uh, well, you know, we do that your season is over video every Sunday, where we highlight the list of teams that lose and always say, this is just talking about the teams that lost. It doesn't technically mean your season is over. Well, Gump Man, your season is really over. I'm not talking about the your season is over videos. Your season is over. You just lost to LSU. Wow. NASCAR is rejoicing. They're going to be getting a bunch of their fans back. Every time Alabama craps to bed, NASCAR gets happy. Their fan base increases. Great game. Goes to overtime. Alabama kicked a field goal at the end of regulation to send it to overtime. Alabama got the ball first, scored, kicked the extra point. LSU comes out. Jaden Daniels, 25-yard touchdown scramble for a touchdown on the first play of overtime for LSU. And Brian Kelly said, screw it. We ain't kicking no extra point. They come out and they go for two. Touchdown pass completed right by the pylon. LSU wins 32-31. Bunch of field storming today. Right, Clemson? Clemson lost to Notre Dame. What, 3 of the top 5 teams lost? Well, let's see. Number 1 lost. Number 1 lost. Clemson was what? 4? They lost. I guess, what was Bama? Maybe Bama was 6. Bama lost. Wow. Bama, your season is over. That's your second loss. You're not even winning your division. You're not even winning your division? Poverty on a level never before seen. Wow. I can't relate as a Georgia fan. November 5th? November 5th. And for Bama, it's officially the offseason. Better luck next year. You lost to the Corn Dogs. Embarrassing. You lost to Brian Kelly. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You lost to Brian Kelly with an extra week to prepare? Whoa. Whoa. Hey, Nick Saban got out-coached. I don't know what to tell you. I know this is a popular thing to say, going back years, really. At least 4 or 5 years, every time Bama loses. They'll say, oh, yep, Saban's, that's it for Saban. It's just about over for Saban. Let's start facing facts and reality. Alabama hasn't been the same, really, since 2018. 2019, they didn't make the playoffs. 2020, they won the national title, but it was a COVID year. Last year, no. And now this year, here we are, first week in November, and season over. They're bringing in all these transfers from all over the place. It's not working out. They don't have a single decent wide receiver on the team. Will Anderson has completely disappeared. They've got secondary issues. The offensive line is a mess for the second year in a row. Undisciplined with the penalties. I'm not saying Nick Saban's retiring at the end of this season. I'm not going to go out on that limb. And certainly he's earned the right to stick around as long as he wants to. But I'm as confident right now more confident right now than I've ever been that Nick Saban's days are numbered. I'm not saying Alabama's not going to win another game or not going to be good next year or anything like that, but Alabama really is on about a 2 or 3 year downhill slide, in my opinion. It's not working out. You lost to LSU. The same LSU team that lost to Florida State. Speaking of Florida State, how are my Miami Duck fans doing? Boy, Miami got absolutely obliterated by Florida State today. Just absolutely destroyed. I guess that was supposed to be a rivalry game. Miami didn't show up. Of course, Miami really hasn't showed up for a game since week 2 at Texas A&M. But great games tonight. Clemson goes down to Notre Dame, and that was a blowout. An absolute blowout. Dabo seems confused about what to do with the quarterback situation. Clemson didn't score at all through 3 quarters. They were shut out at halftime, third quarter, come out. I think DJ came out and played the first possession or 2 of the third quarter. Still couldn't get anything going. They put Cade Klubnik in, or whatever his name is, that freshman backup. They put him in. He immediately throws an interception. Notre Dame then goes down and scores. They never put Cade back in. Then they send DJ back in. So the whole QB hokey pokey deal going on. DJ drives Clemson down the field, throws an interception in the red zone. Notre Dame returns at 95 yards for a touchdown. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen Clemson get beat like that. A while. And I want to be clear here. Notre Dame's not a very good team. Now, I know every time this happens and a team loses to somebody that they shouldn't lose to, the fans of the team that lost come out and say, well, but Notre Dame's playing better now than they. Notre Dame's not a good team. They lost to Marshall. They're not a good team. Almost lost to Cal. Notre Dame's not a good team. They're not. First-year head coach there. He was on the road in Notre Dame, but look, this ain't the 80s. Notre Dame ain't a very difficult place to play. That's just a fact. Notre Dame is more like an NFL game in terms of how the crowd acts than a college game. It's just a fact. It's a corporate crowd up there at Notre Dame. It's not a difficult place to play. Clemson just played terrible. Their defense didn't play good, and the offense was non-existent. Now, they did finally score some garbage points at the end, but just too little too late. I think they ended up with, what was the final score, 35-14? It was just a complete destruction of Clemson tonight at the hands of Notre Dame, the worst Notre Dame team in a decade. Sad to see. Going to be interesting to see about Clemson and how it relates to the playoffs. The popular theory was that if Clemson loses a game, they're out of the playoffs. And that could still happen. But look around. Alabama's out, right? Tennessee's probably going to be ranked ahead of Clemson, even though they both lost today, because Tennessee at least lost to a better team, Georgia, than Clemson did in losing to Notre Dame. But, TCU won again. Again, it wasn't pretty at all. But most of TCU wins haven't been pretty, but the point is they're wins. So as far as your undefeated teams, there's only 4. And I don't see how you can have anybody in the top 4 at this point besides those 4 undefeated teams. So I think you're going to see Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2, Michigan at 3, TCU at 4. And then it's going to be a bloodbath for those one-loss teams. And you know what? I've trolled you all a little bit about this. You've trolled me a little bit about this. I'm not trolling right now. Oregon might be the best one-loss team in the country. I'm not trolling. Now you're going to say they lost to Georgia by 49-3. Yeah, I've been telling you that all year. And what did you tell me every time I said that? You would say, yeah, but Oregon's way better now than they were then. Okay, I believe you. I'm agreeing with you. Bo Nix might get a Heisman invitation. Bo Nix might get a Heisman invitation. I know nobody's paid attention to Oregon, but you might want to. I don't think Oregon's going to be the highest ranked one-loss team. That's just not how the playoff committee works. But I'm dead serious. LSU's got 2 losses. Bama's got 2 losses. So your one-loss teams are Clemson, TCU, Oregon. Oklahoma State lost again today. Didn't they? Yeah, they did. Texas beat Kansas State. Where do you think Oregon's going to be? They were 8 this past week. Tennessee lost. Clemson lost. Bama lost. All 3 of those teams were ahead of Oregon. I'm not trolling. I'm being serious. I'm not even doing the whole, Georgia beat them. I don't even need the Oregon win now because I've got the Tennessee win. Now, all of y'all are going to tell me Tennessee's no good and they're overrated. I know how. Look, I've been doing this a long time. Georgia's going to lose every week until they win, and then you tell me the team we beat was no good. So I get it that you're now going to tell me the same thing about Tennessee that you've been telling me about Oregon all year, which is that Georgia's win over them is not impressive somehow. I know how you idiots think, but sane people know that Georgia's wins over Oregon and Tennessee are impressive wins. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4. I would still put Tennessee 5. But then I'd put Oregon ahead of Clemson. I'm not even kidding. Clemson's not a good team. Clemson could easily have 2 or 3 losses right now. They probably should have lost to Wake Forest. And Wake Forest not very good. NC State's not very good. Syracuse not very good. These are teams Clemson's beaten by 6 and 7 points. Oregon is better than Clemson. So I don't know. Off the top of my head, and again, I'll put a poll out early in next week. But off the top of my head right now, and this is not trolling, Georgia, Ohio State, who struggled today against Northwestern, who was raining, woo. What, it wasn't raining on Northwestern? Stop it. You should have been able to line up and push them around. Guess what Ohio State's problem is? Lines of scrimmage. That's not good considering you got to play Michigan in a couple of weeks. Lines of scrimmage is why you lost to Michigan last year. They absolutely dominated you along the line. And you play like you did today, that might happen again. You should have been able to push Northwestern around. Remember last year when Ohio State almost lost to Nebraska? Nebraska was a 3-9 team, and Ohio State fans spent the last month of the season running around saying, "Yeah, I know Nebraska's 3-9, woo, but they're the best 3-9 team I've ever seen." Well, I guess now we got to hear that about Northwestern. Except Northwestern's not 3-9; they're 1-8. I guess Northwestern's the best 1-8 team in history. But anyway, I'd probably still have Ohio State too, slightly ahead of Michigan. You know what? I might have Michigan ahead of Ohio State. Georgia 1, Michigan and Ohio State 2 and 3 in some order. TCU 4, Tennessee 5, Oregon 6. Maybe LSU 7? Maybe LSU 7. Clemson 8. UCLA 9. Southern Cal's on now. Second quarter, they're losing to Cal. They're in the top 10. I don't know. It's a mess. It really doesn't matter. Georgia's the best team in the country, and they're winning the national title again. And a lot of people came to that realization today. Now, they're probably not going to admit it in this comment section. They would never give me the satisfaction. But if you're watching this video, you know Georgia's the best team in the country, period. If Georgia was playing anybody next week, they would win. Wouldn't matter who it was. Georgia would be a significant favorite over any other team in the country right now, including Ohio State, including Michigan, including TCU, Tennessee, Oregon, UCLA, whatever team you want to name. It makes you mad because Georgia won the Natty last year, and you've had to listen to me all offseason and now into the season. After you spent that offseason telling me Georgia was going to be terrible because they lost 15 players to the draft, woo. I mean, do you guys forget that Georgia has recruited in the top 3 for 7 years in a row? Oh, my God, Georgia lost some talent. What are they going to do? Replace it with talent? Yeah. Don't even get me started on all the players Georgia had out today and still blew out Tennessee. And, yeah, I'm calling it a blowout over Tennessee. It's a 14-point win. If you didn't watch the game, don't talk to me about how it wasn't a blowout. Georgia dominated and could have easily have won this game by 4 or 5 touchdowns. They went into neutral coast mode in the second half and just played keep away, poured down rain. They were just trying to keep the ball away from Tennessee. That's it. That's it. Backs. Boy, that makes y'all mad. But yeah, Georgia's the best team in the country and is likely going to win another national title back to back. Should I replace this sign with a 2022 one? Or should I just get another one and hang right below it? Let me know.